Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios, from wherever you are connecting. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. What happens when the essence of light begins to move upward from center to center? First of all, the journey of a person, inner journey, begins with a question. You ask a question, so it has to be responded. A response is given, and also the master, the sheikh, tells you that you listen to these talks that is happening on a regular basis. This is a strategy. So when you listen to these talks on a regular basis, you are within the energy field of the awakened one. When you are within the energy field, it is the tawajjuh is flowing towards you. There is a questioning mind that has made you ask the question. So the purpose of the master is two ways. Number one, to answer your immediate question and create a situation that you start getting the answers yourself. That happens when the questioning mind dissolves. So questioning mind always obstructs the answers, the flow of the answers that might happen. So it happens, you have asked a question, a process begins, and then that problem, it is like you are going to the doctor for some treatment. When the doctor tells you a certain way to keep your lifestyle, this and that, and you remember your body works on an inner mechanism. It is not the doctors who made your body. It is the unknown and unknowable has created your body and make the system effective, just as a car. When a car engineer makes a car, he puts entire system of the car in an order. But the mechanics are doctors and mechanics, they are learning how to learn this process. So if your car has a problem, the best way is to go to the car manufacturer. He know and he can sort it out much easily. But that is not possible. So we go to the outside mechanics, doctors and other practitioners to correct that problem. So it happens through trial and error. You get your problems rectified. So maybe it can be rectified, maybe it is not. When in same way, in order to get the answer to the question, if you are going to the inner energy field, you are going to the source that has created this. So that is very important. So I had told you spine has two ends. It is a channel. It connects the base, the base center, the Mooladhara, and 1,000 petal centers. So between these, the energy moves from one end to the other. So gradually it starts moving along the spinal cord, and as the energy begins to move upward, you will get more and more glimpses of the reality, that of the truth. So this is what happens when you are within the energy field of the master. Slowly and slowly your energy begins to change. And as your energy changes, you get more and more glimpses. Then you do not have to depend on the basic answers to the questions from the master. You can solve your problems on your own, just as once you are following the particular discipline, you can maintain your health in a better way. And once the energy, the light, the essence of light reaches the thousand petal centers, and from there it is released, you will have the absolute bliss within you. This is what we call as nirvana. This is what we call it salvation. This is what we call. So then there is no glimpse, because in the beginning it was glimpses, because you and that state of the glimpse were separate. Now you are the glimpse. You are the reality. You are awakened. So there will be no glimpse. Instead, you are the embodiment of bliss. So the whole thing is, for the yoga and tantra, is how to move the energy upward through the vertebrae, through the spinal cord. How to help it move against the gravity. The sex is very easy because it follows the law of gravitation. So it pulls you downwards. When this energy is dominant, it pulls you downward. The moment the direction of this energy changes, you was easily inclined to go into the act of sex. And because you was being pulled by the gravity, your sex energy was being pulled by the gravitational force. But now the energy has found another route to move upward. You will realize that it is not being pulled by the earth element, the gravitational force. So there has been a very significant finding when the astronauts went into the space, and they realized that the space means you are going beyond the gravitational force of the earth. Gravitational force of the earth starts pulling you downwards. So there is no force on you exerting itself to pull you down. And then another force has born in you that is pulling you upwards. The moment they went into the beyond the gravitational force of earth, they could not feel much sexuality. This was the finding of the astronauts. As the body was losing weight, the means what body is becoming weightless. Not losing weight, it becomes weightless. That's why in a space, a certain type of a certain type of environment is created. Otherwise, you will start floating in the air, because you are beyond the gravitational force of the earth. But when you are traveling in an aircraft, you are at the altitude of 35 to 40,000 or sometimes even more, then a particular kind of environment is maintained in the cabin, the pressure and the oxygen pressure, so that you do not have a discomfort. Anytime the pressure drops, the oxygen mass naturally drops. This is the mechanism in that system. But when you are an astronaut traveling in space, you are beyond the gravitational force of the earth. So you are feeling the weightlessness. You are not like a balloon which is filled with the neon gas, that it is going high and high in the sky as long as the gas remains there. So the earth is pulling your life energy downward. This is natural. Because of that, you feel more and more inclined towards sex. Because the life energy comes from the earth element. You eat food that is grown in the soil. And so it is the every way your life energy is coming from the earth element. There is no effect of any other element which is not the earth element? Are you capable of filling your lungs with the air, in the sense that the moment the energy, you are moving away from the gravitational force, you will eat less and less. You will observe that your appetite is less, and sometimes you feel that, I don't know, you go to the doctor and ask him that I am not feeling very hungry. You remember when you are saddened, there is an emptiness and you do not know how to fill that emptiness. You try to fill it with the food that is rich in earth element. So everything that you are eating, the energy that is coming to you in your body comes from the earth element. And the earth is now the same energy that you have consumed is pulling you downward. Everything goes to its source. The seed is planted in the earth. It grows, becomes a plant, bears fruits, flowers, and the fruits again become the seed. It goes back to the earth element. You have not come. Earth is one of the elements that constituted a certain part of your body. The earth, the fire, the water, the ether, the space. All these 5 elements put together. But of all these elements, earth element remains most dominant in your life. No other effect is the effect of no other element surpasses the effect of the earth element. When this process begins to change, you are moving different. Techniques for how it can be broken are here. For how the energy can move vertically and rise up within you, reaching to new centers. For how the energies can be revealed within you, making you a new person with every move. Sometimes it happens miraculously. When you are within the energy field of the Master, you cannot realize why this is happening. How something that used to be pulling you downward is not pulling you. So that if that has started happening, you have to cherish this company. In the beginning, you have to be there. When you are going on the mountain climbing, you have to carry the oxygen cylinder with you. When you are diving, you have to carry the oxygen cylinder with you. When you are going in a submarine deep below the surface of the ocean, or you are traveling in an aircraft up at a higher altitude, then you do not have to carry the oxygen cylinder with you, because the environment is created in such a way that it gives you comfort. So this association, this company makes you becomes like a cabin, and you are this energy field of the Master becomes a cabin. You are always in that energy field, and when you are in that energy field, you don't need to make any extra effort. Do you have to make any extra effort when you are traveling in the aircraft? Have you ever observed? As compared to when you are diving, you have to carry the oxygen cylinder with you. You have to carry the special breathing equipments. When you are climbing the mountains, you have to do the same thing. So the energy field of the Master helps you in climbing the different ladders, steps of the ladder, different centers, and you do not know how this is happening. This is a miracle. It happens. And the moment energy is released from thousand petal center, it has reached there. So when you reach the topmost ladder of the step of the ladder, what you have to do? You have to reach the rooftop, because the purpose was not just climbing up and down. The purpose was to go where this ladder or the step or the staircase is leading you. There is some resting place at the end of the staircase, maybe your bedroom, maybe kitchen, maybe some other facility that you have created there. So existence has created already a palace of bliss, a palace of awakening, a palace of enlightenment for you to go and rest there. So when you reach the last ladder, Sahasra, you have to leave that and reach that place which is bliss or enlightenment, and there you remain there as long as you have to remain there. And then if you have to come down to meet someone or go to the kitchen which is downstairs, you have to come down for the kitchen. Otherwise you are resting in your bedroom, in your estate, palace of bliss, palace of harmony. That is why the masters say that I do not have time for the other things. If you are very busy in doing what you are doing in your office, which is at the topmost level, you may forget about the dinner, you may forget about lunch. At times it does happen. Then you do not belong to the earth element during that time. You have become divine. That is what is meant when Krishna says, is God or Buddha? We say, that is why we say whether Krishna is God or Buddha is God. Whether Krishna is God or Buddha is God. Their bodies are just like yours. Krishna has assumed the human form. Holy Prophet has assumed the human form to be one like you. Krishna has assumed the form one like you. You have attained to the highest degree from the university. Highest degree from the university that you could go. And your children have not attained that. Would you not act with your children just like children? Or would you show your wisdom of whatever profession you are and talk to them in the technical language of your profession, or you will talk to them in the language that they understand? So that is what is meant when we say Krishna is God or Buddha is God. He is godly. He has attained to that state. Just as you have attained a university degree in medicine, in engineering, or in any other field. That is necessary for your work. But what you attained in the field of spirituality is for your own benefit. First you have to attain, just as first you attain the degree, then you go and help the others, disseminating your own knowledge, awareness in the profession of teaching or in the medical profession or somewhere else. Monetary gain remains the basis of that. But in case of an awakened one, there is no monetary gain. For the talks, we do not get any income coming from any source. I have to fight the rigors of life, make ends meet, and do the work. That is what the Sufi path is. So their bodies, the body of Krishna, the body of Buddha, the body of Holy Prophet, the body of other enlightened masters is just like you. What is the difference between your body and that of your child? Carries the same mechanism. The only difference is you have attained a university degree and the child is still in the process to begin the studies. That is the difference between you. Their bodies will have to fall, they will get ill, they may die. Everything happens in their bodies as it happens in you. Only one thing is not happening in their bodies, which is happening to you. The energy has broken the gravitational pattern. In case of Holy Prophet or Krishna, he has become an astronaut. He has reached the space beyond the gravitational force of Earth. So he has broken the pattern of Earth's gravitational force. And when he breaks the gravitational force, the pattern of the gravitational force, he is weightless. The weight is not pulling you. If something, why the balloon goes up in the air? Because it is weightless. An ordinary balloon, because helium is the lightest gas in the periodic table, whereas other gases are heavier. So they are being pulled down. A balloon filled with helium goes up and up because gravitational force cannot pull it down. So when you reach that state, the difference between you and Buddha is not being pulled down, you are being pulled down on a regular basis. So that is the difference. How this pattern can be broken? The technique is very useful for breaking the pattern. The technique is, that is why I said, someone had asked, the Wish 21, you can choose any of those. Each technique is independent in itself and it can break the pattern. So the technique is very useful for breaking the pattern. First, understand something basic. The first thing is, if you have observed that, you must have observed that your sex energy moves with imagination. Just through imagination, your sex centers start functioning. If there is no imagination applied to that, it will not function. Really, without imagination, sex energy cannot function. That is why when you are in love with someone, it functions better, because with love, imagination enters into you. The moment there is love, imagination enters. If you are not in love, it is difficult. That's why Tantra says, even with your spouse, do not let it be a purely a process, not so that the imagination does not enter into, it has to be therapeutic. Sex has to be therapeutic. If you are not in love, it is very difficult. Imagination will not function. This is the reason that male prostitutes were not found in the olden days. Only women prostitutes. It is difficult for a man prostitute if he has no love. And how can he have love? just because of the money. You can pay a man to have sex with you, but he has no imagination for you. He cannot function. Women can function without their sex. Women can function with you because their sex is passive. Really, their functioning is not needed in case of a woman. They can be totally detached. They may not be feeling anything at all. Their bodies can just be there like a corpse. Sometimes you would have noticed the woman says, if you want to do it and finish it out quickly. And the woman is lying down just like a corpse. And you finish your work. That's it, you finish your work. This has to be the experience of almost everyone sometimes or the other. Only with a dead corpse, but woman can easily be prostitute because sex in a woman is passive. In man it is active. So when it is active, so that's why the male prostitutes are not very prominent as it used to be. Sex center always functions through imagination. That is why even in dreams you can get erections and ejaculations that we call as wet dreams. They are actual. Dreams are just imagination. It has been observed, and you would observe as your energy begins to happen. The problem of wet, you go to the doctor to find a solution for wet dreams, and you do not get the solution because you do not understand the basic function behind it. The moment imagination begins to vanish, dissolve, then the problem of wet dreams disappear. It has been observed that every man, if physically fit, will have at least 10 erections per night. 10 erections at different times. With every movement of the mind, with only a slightest thought of sex, erection comes. Your mind has many energies, many faculties, and one of these is will. The erection will come. With every movement of the mind, with only a slightest thought of sex, erection will come. Your mind has many energies, many faculties, and one is will. But you cannot will sex. For sex, will is important. If you try to love someone, you will feel you have gone impotent. So never try. Will never functions with sex. Only imagination will function as far as sex is concerned. You imagine, and with that imagination you enter into it. And the center, the moment imagination breathes into you, the sex center starts functioning. Why am I emphasizing this fact? Because if imagination helps the energy to move through the sex act downward, then through imagination you can move it upward as well. You can use your imagination to allow the energy move downward, and sex will be possible. And if you allow this energy to move upward through your imagination, then you are going against the gravitational force of the earth, gravitational force of sex. You can use your imagination to move your energy downward or upward just by imagination. You cannot move your blood by imagination. You cannot move anything else in the body by imagination, but sex energy can be moved, and it does, and it always moves through imagination. If there is no imagination, as far as sex is concerned, then you will not enter into it. You can change the direction of that. So that is why when someone comes with a problem relating to that, indirectly something else is told. So that your energy is moving through imagination into other directions, into other creative directions. If I tell you to just sit down and feel that your energy is moving upward, it will not. So I tell you something else. What? You think over it. Someone is told, excellent cooking. Try to be more and more creative. What it is happening? Energy is moving against the gravitational force. And you would observe the sex is becoming less and less important in your life. I don't need to tell you what will happen. That has to be your own experience. I can only tell you something, do that, and this will help you. You will be creative, you will create new dishes, you will create something else, you can create the writing, you can create this, you can create that. First is the sex. The sutra says, consider your essence as light rays. Your energy is light rays. Think of yourself, your being, as light rays. This is imagination. You are nothing else but light. And light is beginning to move. Light cannot remain, its rays begins to move. It is beginning, the energy as light moves from center to center. It moves into creative dimensions. It is moving from center to center up the vertebrae, your spine. And so, with that, rises liveness in you. Imagine now, I take you one example, whatsoever the profession you are in excelling, did you enjoy having sex as much as you enjoy creating a new dish? What did you enjoy the most? Creating a new dish or having sex? When you had sex, it was temporal. But when you have created a dish, does it not give you a greater joy? And the joy lingers. You want to share it with others. Can you share the joy of sex with others? The joy, in the first place, you do not experience that. If along with that, during the act, the energy begins to move, then you will realize that whatsoever the state of blissfulness you attain through the act of sex, you can Share it with your family members. You are more helpful, more happy, more blissful rather than all the time grumbling. So when your energy is moving in the creative direction upward, slowly and slowly you are going against the gravitational pull. You find that downward movement of the energy has changed. The first, when the energy moves along the spinal cord, the yoga has divided your spine into 7 centers. The first center is the sex center, and the last is the 1,000-petal center, which is the crown chakra. Between these two, there are 5 centers. Certain systems divide into 9, and this week I had spoken on 114 centers. That is correct. But in the initial stages, when you are in primary school, I have to only use one word, science, nothing else. But as you start moving, science will be divided into physics, chemistry. Then higher you go, physics is divided into optics, magnetism, and other branches. Chemistry is divided into organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, biochemistry, and so on and so forth. So in the beginning, it is 7 or 9. Some systems divide into 9 and some divide into 4. Division is not important. You can make your own division. Just 5 centers are enough to work with. The first is the sex center. The second is the just behind the navel center. The third is the heart center. Fourth is behind the eyebrows. Just in between before that there is the throat center, center of expression. Then the third eye center. Then the 1,000-petal center just on the peak of the head. The sutra says, consider yourself, which means imagine yourself. Consider means imagine yourself. Close your eyes and imagine yourself just as you are light. This is not just imagination. In the beginning, it is an imagination, but it is reality. Also because everything consists of light. Now science says that everything consists of electricity. The hair, if you do something, sometimes, if the hair are without the oil, you start getting a kind of a sound. Tantra has always said that everything consists of light particles. Light and energy, electricity is basically the same, the two sides of the same coin. That is why Quran says, God is light, you are light. Imagine first that you are light rays, because it is easy to imagine that, then electricity. That's why it is conveniently, for your convenience, Quran says, God is light, you are light. Bible says in the beginning there was Word, Word was with God. Quran says God is light, you are light. Imagine that you are just light. Then move your imagination, bring it to the sex center, concentrate your attention there and feel light rays are rising upward from there. It has to move from upward. This is the entire process that happens, because of which someone says he is not interested in that as much as he used to be earlier. Concentrate your attention there and feel light rays are moving upsurge, upward from the sex center to the navel or the solar plexus. Division is needed because it will be difficult for you to connect your sex center directly to the thousand petal. You cannot reach the top of the floor without the staircase or ladder being there. So these centers act as ladder or the steps of the staircase. Can you reach up? There is no elevator within. The God did not create any elevator within your body. It can happen suddenly in some cases. The energy shoots. That also is the outcome of the work that has happened in the past lives. So you have to use these ladders. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And in those steps you have to continue your work. Division is needed because it will be difficult for you to connect without the ladder. If you have to climb up somewhere, there is no staircase or anything. Or you are standing on the ground and you have to change the bulb. What you do? How can you connect standing on the ground to the bulb? To the bulb, the socket of the bulb. So what you do, you put a ladder there, temporary ladder, and climbing the ladder, you connect. Ladder is touching the ground, so you are connected to the ground through the ladder, and then you are reaching up the ladder to reach the socket of the bulb and change the bulb. So that is division is necessary. So smaller divisions will be of greater help. If you can connect directly, no division will be needed. You can just drop all divisions from sex center onwards, and the energy, the life force will reach the thousand petal center, the crown center. But divisions will be of more help because your mind cannot conceive of smaller fragments easily. So this process continues. I thought that I would try to finish this in today's session, but it seems that it is not. I will have to continue this in the following session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.